Hello, New Orleans Saints fans. It is finally over in Chicago as the New Orleans Saints, now 6-1 on the season, and Teddy Bridgewater moves to 5-0 as the starting quarterback as we await the return of Drew Brees. But what an effort in Soldier Field today. Your final score, the New Orleans Saints 36, the Chicago Bears 25, notwithstanding what happened in the final 4 minutes, a completely dominant performance for the Saints. By the way, I'm Todd Graffanini, filling in for Caroline Gonzalez, who I'm sure is having a blast in Soldier Field today. But we're going to take you through all the post-game festivities. We'll hear from Sean Payton on the podium. We'll hear from John DeShazier, who will be in the locker room following Coach Payton. You'll see some highlights. We actually had to edit the highlights. There were so many today for the New Orleans Saints. And again, we'll just get into it. You don't have Drew Brees, obviously. You don't have Alvin Kamara. You don't have Jared Cook. You're without your major weapons on offense other than Michael Thomas, and it doesn't matter. Coach Sean Payton, I thought, had an unbelievable game as far as calling the offense, mixing it up, spreading it out. We saw the coming out party officially of Latavius Murray, who rushed for 118 yards and a couple of touchdowns. His third quarter run of 18 yards, I thought, really established and set the tone of that dominant, and it was, don't get me wrong, dominant, I think, is an understatement of what happened in the third quarter as the Chicago Bears couldn't get anything going offensively. We haven't even talked about the Saints defense yet, which was completely stifling. The Bears did not have a first down from early in the second quarter till that garbage, second to last drive of the game for Chicago, where, of course, we were giving up the yardage. But 6 straight 3-and-outs, and it was almost like watching Dome Patrol defense. The Bears ended up with, and again, these numbers are very skewed, 252 total yards in the ball game. Now think of how many yards that they picked up on those final 2 drives. Completely stymieing Mitch Trubisky, who he looked like he was still at North Carolina today, throwing the ball all over the place. Saints were getting after him. And again, we've been talking about this since this streak started in Seattle. It's just team football. Now, I know there were some special teams things that needed to be cleaned up today. You're talking about the touchdown return, which really kept the game a game way back when, after the Saints had a 9-0 lead. Patterson had the touchdown on the kickoff, which made it 9-7, kept the stadium into the ball game. And look, they booed the Bears walking off the field at halftime, yet it was still a 2-point game. So that kickoff return for the touchdown kept them in it, but no, they really weren't in it. And it was the New Orleans Saints with another dominating performance. As you think about it, it was a lot like the Seattle game. Had the huge lead, and then watched Seattle get those touchdowns at the end that made the score a little bit closer than it really was, because it was not. So again, if you're a Saints fan, you have got to be fired up to what Teddy Bridgewater has done, how they spread it around defensively. And let's go to the podium right now and Sean Payton.
Felt like, honestly, we left a lot of points off the board. I thought the call at the end of the first half on the punt return was terrible. It should have been a touchdown. But I was proud of how we played, and it was a good win, good road win. Any questions?
And, talk about the challenge of putting the game plan together offensively with so many key parts not allowed.
Yeah, I mean, look, I said during the week that's what we are paid to do, and there's always going to be some flux, and so finding the roles for guys, what we felt guys could do well. We stumbled a little bit in the red zone. I thought defensively we were outstanding again. We didn't allow a rushing first down, I don't think. We knew we were playing a good return team. They had the kickoff return. That kind of, brought that game closer. But I thought as the second half went on, I thought clearly we outrushed them. We won that battle up front. That was significant. If you win that, you're going to win most of the games.
Did you all see something in their punt block early?
No, I can't. I just know we were rushing 8 based on, the down and distance was one that you just got to be careful. You're not going to allow a fake. So it wasn't a called block though. It was a good play, and unfortunately we weren't able to fall on it. But
Sean, you go. Go ahead.
A lot of things worked for you. The play where Zach pitched to Taysom, that was a big
short yardage, yeah.
You been working on that for a while?
Yeah, it was a short yardage call.
Sean, if you go back to week 2 and just how dominant this, especially the defense has been, would you say they've sort of exceeded your expectations?
No, we're not prognosticators or predictors, or we're just trying to improve each week. And I say that, we feel like there's more out there, and so I think they're playing with a lot of confidence right now. I thought, again, that it's hard to win games if you can't rush the football with any type of consistency, and I thought we stopped the run, and then as that game wore on, we ran the ball well.
So what gave you the confidence to stick with Latavius in the run game and just kind of keep going with it,
Even though,
well, maybe early and the holes weren't there as big as it were?
yeah, listen, I thought, look, if you go back, I had a couple boneheaded calls, but I thought we ran the ball pretty efficiently. The outside play I called somewhere in the second or third quarter wasn't really good. So I thought, we felt all along our plan was going to be give us a chance. We thought that was important.
Sean, you or maybe a player mentioned a few weeks after the Seattle game that week was kind of felt like training camp to them. Did you see something after that week in regards to them maybe coming together?
I think look, this has happened with teams before we've coached, and we've had a game in London that was important, and you're there for a week. Of course, Seattle, there is less distractions. You're in a hotel, and the meals are there, and the practices are there. But I think the confidence can come from a particularly tough win, and I think that was a tough win on the road. And I think that you build on things like that.
You haven't watched film yet, obviously. But
Pardon?
You haven't watched film yet, obviously, but your first impressions of CJ filling in for PJ?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, he's smart and competitive, but I think you do have to look at the film before you have comments ahead of time.
What does Latavius do well in this?
I think he's got, look, it's a good question. I think he has real good vision. He's got the ability to cut back and feel a run, maybe being over pursued. He's got speed, and so he had a handful of those cuts today that he saw a hole, he felt something, and I thought he ran with power, but he also ran with speed. He had a touchdown called back. It was a real good run. It was a big game for him. I was proud of him.
Did you feel like the offensive line kind of took over in the second half there? It just felt like
I felt like that. I felt like we won the line of scrimmage. So, and honestly, I'm not so sure we weren't winning it in the first half, and I probably was as guilty of keeping us or holding us back. But we finally distanced ourselves with the score. It seemed frustrating early on. I mean, we had the block punt, and we're not able to fall on it. Again, the punt return at the end of the half, I think Zach was outstanding on the play. It's what we coach. And it was a great return, and unfortunately, they called a penalty on it. But we responded to some of that, and that's kind of how our game is. That's kind of how things happen.
The broadcast mentioned that you guys were targeting next week as a return for Drew.
No, incorrect. So I'll fill you guys in, day by day. We're not targeting. We're going to see how he's doing, and we'll give you the news once we feel like we're ready to.
You did mention he could be active next
Again,
week.
I'm not even discussing it. Sorry.
Sean, the challenge on the fumble, did you get word that?
Yeah, those guys upstairs felt strong about it. I didn't have an early view. and they felt like they had seen a pretty clear shot. And once we saw it, you could see. So from the field, I didn't see it as clearly as they did, but that's because the back of the player was towards me and the ball was away from me.
Hey, Sean, at the end of the first half, were you surprised that the Bears that they didn't just take a knee and run that out?
Well, look, I wasn't. Matt's real sharp, and I think you're looking closely at field position, where you're at with time left. We ended up. A lot of it's just what your goal is. You got to be careful you don't get burned. I've been a part of teams that have been burned at the end of halves where you're being aggressive. So a lot of it's your own vision as to what you're trying to get done. And there were a handful of possessions there right at the very end, and it just ended that way.
Sean, with Eli Apple's injuries or anything you can tell us?
No update. No update. Sorry. All right, thank you.
And the comments from head coach Sean Payton as, again, the New Orleans Saints defeat the Chicago Bears 36-25. Came on a little frustrated in the beginning, mentioning that he thought the team left some points on the board. You got to think about playing in Chicago, playing in Soldier Field, which in the past has been a bit of a house of horrors for the New Orleans Saints. Just crazy things happen there, and usually they happen for the home team. So you're facing a lot of adversity right away, playing on the grass field. Of course, Coach Payton had mentioned early in the week how everyone was going to wear those screw-in cleats, so you're not going to lose your footing on a field like that. But you mentioned the punt block from J.T. Gray, as we're going to go right back to the podium, and quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, who had another outstanding effort.
Man, it's a great feeling being able to, come to Soldier Field and walk away with the victory. We knew that coming to this game, it was about attitude. And when you look at the scoreboard, you look at the stat sheet, you watch the tape and you see nothing but attitude from our guys. It started up front. We knew that it was going to be a physical battle. We knew how tough their defense was. We'd heard about it all week. We just knew that we had to play a physical game, and we did just that today.
To do it without Alvin and Jared, does that make it even more impressive what this team can do and just keep surviving despite all these injuries?
Yeah, I'd say this team knows how to survive, and that's what it's all about, having those survival skills. We do a great job of just being able to step right in if we have to and try to fill voids. But, it was an overall team effort today, and I'm glad we came away with the win.
How different is it without Alvin out there?
It's a big difference, I'd say. When you talk about a guy who can change a game the way he can. But, we have guys who are able to step in and, carry the load if we need them to. And you watch Latavius today, what he was able to do. And just hats off to, those guys, our coaching staff, who just continue to draw up different ways for us to win football games. And like I said, man, that offensive line of ours, man, hats off to those guys. It was a physical game. They did a great job of opening holes for our backs to run freely, and even coming out of the backfield catching the ball. Latavius had a great game. So it's great to have a guy like that who can step in, even if we're missing one piece. It just speaks highly of this team.
What was the biggest adjustment in that second half coming out of the locker room in that first drive? And was that kind of what was the floodgate that kind of opened up you guys offensively? Yeah,
you could say that. We just have to do a better job of just starting fast. If we can play fast with tempo, we're unstoppable. We have to continue to take pride in being the most in-shape team. And as you can see throughout the course of the game, as the game went on, we were able to wear and tear on those guys and open different holes for our running backs, and our receivers made plays. So the second half, we just made some adjustments and came back out playing fast, and it worked for us.
What the drive where the play calling with the fullback option and then the wide screen to Taysom, just like the play calling was really creative on that drive.
Coach, those guys do a great job of just finding different ways to put us in a position to have success. And it was a third down situation. And we knew that we were going to get a favorable look. Zach did a great job of, making it easy for Taysom to receive the pitch, and Taysom did the rest. So, you look at us and we have the different personnels, the different formations and things like that, and all it's doing is just putting us in a position to succeed. And you watch Taysom catch an option out of the backfield. You watch Taysom catch a screen for a touchdown. He lines up at quarterback. So the more we can do with all of our guys, it's beneficial to us.
Describe where this team's confidence is at right now.
I say we have a ton of confidence, and we play this game with confidence. And we take pride in having confidence around here. And you watch our defense; they're flying around. I think at one point in the game, it held Chicago to 4 first downs. If you can do that, on the defensive side of the ball, all that does is just continue to give the offense more confidence. Like, man, we could just score 21 points. Our defense is going to do the rest. But you look at us overall, offensively, defensively, in the kicking game, I think we're playing complete football right now. Of course, it's not as pretty as we'd like it to be, but it's working for us. We're winning. And we know that there's always room for improvement.
If I had told you 6 weeks ago this team would be 5-0, if you was a quarterback, what would have been your response to that?
I don't know how I would have responded, but I knew that, it was going to be a challenge for us these past couple of weeks. You talk about 3 out of 5 wins come against 3 playoff teams from last year. So to do that, and 2 of them being on the road, that's pretty impressive. It speaks highly of this team. It's all about the team. We're preparing each week. We're trusting our preparation. We're going out there on the football field and just letting it rip.
There's some instances where it seemed like you had forever to throw. I mean, just your offensive line in this game. I mean, especially against Ruben Bears front. What would you say with how they played in this game?
When you can rush for 150 yards against a defense like that, and you can throw the ball for over 250 yards on a defense like that, it speaks highly of the guys up front. They're the ones who are making all of this happen. They're opening the rush lanes for the runners to run the ball. They're giving me time to sit back there and get the ball to our playmakers. So I think those guys don't get enough credit. And, we're proud, of those guys. We're glad they're on our team. We just want to continue to get better moving forward.
There was one play in the fourth quarter where you dropped back. It seemed like you had about 7 seconds to throw. Do you remember that play?
Yeah, they rushed 3 guys. So just trying to buy a little time. Hopefully one of our guys could make one of their guys fall or something like that. But, when you get in a situation like that, you just try to hold the ball. We know we have good double teams on the 3 guys that are rushing. Then try to find something down the field, but they covered it all, so dumped it to Latavius in the flats.
With you and Latavius both being former NFC North guys, did y'all talk much about just coming into this stadium again?
Yeah, last night I mentioned to the guys that this division is known as the black and blue division. And they take pride in being physical, the most physical team. They take pride in running the football. And just told the guys that it was going to be a physical game. And our guys, we were the most physical team, I'd say. We were able to come away, rush the ball for 150 yards, throw it for over 250 yards. So I'd say the message was received well, and we came away with the victory.
Did you think Drew's coming back soon?
That's something I can't speak on. Right now I just try to focus on getting better each and every day, trying to find different ways to help this team win football games.
And that was quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, who is now a perfect 5-0 as the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints after Drew Brees injured that thumb back in Los Angeles, which seems like a very long time ago, doesn't it? But Teddy Bridgewater, quickly his numbers today, 23 of 38, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns, and again, no interceptions, just taking care of the ball. That's what he has done from the get-go, and that is a big reason why the Saints are 5-0 with him as the starter, 6-1 overall atop the NFC South. Let us head back to Chicago and my colleague, John DeShazier. Take it, JD.
Well, Graf, you heard Coach and you heard Teddy Bridgewater, but, I thought the Seattle win on the road, 33-27, was the most impressive win of the season. This one probably trumps that one by far, because we saw the Saints again in all 3 phases of the game really have some good plays, whether it be the block punt, whether it be the punt return for a touchdown that was taken back. We saw a couple of forced turnovers defensively, and then we saw Teddy Bridgewater and Latavius Murray and Michael Thomas, along with that offensive line, really impose their will in that second half. Saints end up with about 37 minutes of time of possession. You don't see that in NFL games. You don't see that barely in college games where a team can go on the road and simply physically dominate. That's the only way you can maintain possession that long in a football game. And so the Saints are able to come on the road and do it and win their fifth straight, all without Drew Brees. And this one, you compound it without Alvin Kamara and without Jared Cook and without P.J. Williams defensively. Let's not forget that. But C.J. Gardner-Johnson probably played his best game of the season. I thought the Saints defensively were outstanding again. Didn't allow a touchdown until the fourth quarter. So they went 7 straight quarters without allowing an offensive touchdown, did that defense. They get a couple of sacks. They make life miserable for the Bears quarterback Mitchell Trubisky, and also they shut him down in the run game. Saints don't allow a rushing first down in this game. I think they've only done that 4 times in franchise history. So really, man, a lot of things to really love about this game. Again, road games in the NFL are hard. Home games are hard, but road games especially are difficult. Now the Saints are 3-1 on the road here in the first half of this season. Go home to finish out this first half before the bye with a game against the Arizona Cardinals. And yeah, the Cardinals seem to be on a bit of a roll, but the Saints, again, 6-1 right now, Graf, leading the NFC South. Really one of the formidable teams in the NFC. And I understand San Francisco remains undefeated, but the Saints are doing this without their Hall of Fame starting quarterback. They did this one without their all-pro running back. They did this one without the tight end who's emerging in this offense. Did it without their starting nickelback. So there are a lot of things to really, really like about this win for the Saints. Impressive. They'll wash it down, be done with it tomorrow. They've done a very good job of moving on. And there are probably enough loose ends right there at the end to where, you don't feel great about it if you're the Saints. You feel pretty good, but there are some things that obviously you can go and work on, preventing those late touchdowns and, working on your onside kick coverage. Certainly you want to work on your kickoff return coverage. But overall, man, this was impressive, Graf. This was 36-10, and it probably wasn't that close because of that kickoff return touchdown. This was a complete and total domination for 3.5 quarters, and the Saints have to like everything that they did in this game with a few exceptions. So, this is a good one to have going back home before Arizona, a great one to have to get to 6-1, again, 5 straight wins. And look, you give me odds on a team going 5 straight wins, this team without Drew Brees, and you probably would have made a lot of money if you're the guy who's betting that they would have gone 5-1. So, a lot of outstanding play for the Saints all across the board. Graf, we're coming home. 6-1, still in first place in the NFC South. Will remain there regardless of what happens next week, and the Saints are exactly where they would want to be at this point in the season.
Thanks so much, John DeShazier. Safe travels back to New Orleans. And again, JD's been getting it done on the road. Again, just one road loss this year. That was a game in LA, as he mentioned, 3-1 on the road. Home games are hard to win. Road games are very difficult to win, especially when you go into a place like Chicago and flat dominate the Chicago Bears. And I would be remiss if I did not talk about the offensive line, who just got the job done again. Teddy Bridgewater had a lot of time to throw the ball. Look, you're going up against Khalil Mack, who you could argue is the best defensive player in the NFL, along with Aaron Donald of the Los Angeles Rams. But Ryan Ramczyk did a number on Khalil Mack today. How about Will Clapp getting in there as that second tight end at times, just going with the physical lineup. And when, like I mentioned, Latavius Murray, 27 carries for 119 yards in that environment against that defense on their own turf. Very, very impressive for Latavius Murray and the offensive line. Well, we've got highlights to show you. As a matter of fact, we had so many, we had to chop them a little bit to fit into our time slot, but I know you're going to enjoy them. Here are the highlights from the Saints' 36-25 victory over Chicago.
Today, with all the injuries they have, and the punt is blocked by the Saints. And it is covered up and kicked through the back of the end zone.
He starts sweating then when he was shaking his hand.
That's great stuff. And of course, you followed it up. Is that a football that's loose? Third down and goal. Bridgewater to Hill. And it's a touchdown inside of 50 yards. And tack on another one right down the middle. It's marched down the field for a touchdown drive. And now David Montgomery on first down. And the ball loose. First and goal, and Murray sniffing the end zone. Does he get there?
To the lineup.
Look at this call. They hand it to Line, who pitches to Hill. And he is... Throw to Hill. And he's into the end zone for a touchdown.
And good stuff right there, 36-25, the final score as the Saints defeat the Chicago Bears. I know people want to hear some numbers, so I'll give you some quickly here individually. We mentioned Bridgewater with 281, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Latavius Murray, 27 for 119, 2 touchdowns, an average of 4.4 per carry. Taysom Hill had 2 for 21. Remember that option pitch from Zach Line, one of the plays of the ball game right there. Receiving, Michael Thomas, steady as always, 9 catches for 131 yards. That spectacular catch really at the end of the middle to the end of the fourth quarter when the Saints scored that final touchdown to put them up 36-10. Ted Ginn had the big catch to set up another touchdown, 2 for 48. Josh Hill was in the offense today in the absence of Jared Cook, 3 for 49 and a touchdown pass, 3 for 43, excuse me. So well done right there. As far as the team goes, this is the number you got to look at. The Bears had 17 yards rushing. Not 70, 17. And they did not rush for a first down today, which John DeShazier had mentioned had happened maybe once or twice in the history of the Saints franchise. It was a completely dominant effort. And again, notwithstanding what happened the final 4 minutes of the ball game, the Saints completely dominated this ball game. Mitch Trubisky at times didn't look like he wanted to be out there, but that's what Dennis Allen and his defense has been doing now for a long time in this year, and it really started in Seattle, and it has just continued as we are here today as the Saints go 6-1. Again, you look at the total yardage, and the Bears had 252 total, 235 of those in the air. The majority of that was the final 2 drives of the ball game for the Bears. Of course, an onside kick recovery had a lot to do with it. Here's another great stat that I was looking at a little earlier. Time of possession, 37-26 to 22-34. Third down efficiency. The Saints converted 46% of their third downs today in that stadium, which in the past, as I talked about, has been a house of horrors. 46% third down efficiency. You held the Bears to 16% third down. So got it done right there. You were able to get off the field time and time again with, 6 straight 3-and-outs from the beginning of the second quarter till midway in the fourth quarter where the Bears finally got a first down. Complete and utter domination. That is going to wrap it up with the Saints postgame show. Don't forget, next Sunday be your final chance to see this team in person before the bye in 2 weeks. The Arizona Cardinals, who've won 3 games in a row, will come to the Superdome. We heard the chants of Teddy, Teddy, Teddy in the Tampa Bay game. I have a feeling we're going to hear those chants again in the Dome on Sunday. It is a high noon kick against the Arizona Cardinals, of course, all week right here on NewOrleansSaints.com and the Saints app. We will have wall-to-wall coverage with practice. We'll have quotes. We'll have analysis with John DeShazier. It's going to be a whole lot of fun as your New Orleans Saints continue to keep on keeping on and get that win streak now to 5. I'm Todd Graffanini. We will see you all week long right here on Saints.com and the New Orleans Saints app. Your final score one more time from Chicago. New Orleans 36, Chicago 25. See you next week.